Chris, did you ever play past the junior varsity level of basketball?
Well, I got asked to leave the varsity team. So, yes, I did play varsity basketball, but I got asked to leave.
And why did you get asked to leave?
Creative differences with the coach.
And what kind of creative differences?
He thought that I was probably a little bit better at football, and they were like, we don't want to risk you getting hurt and taking your time, so we need to get you out to run track and play football. So they said it's probably the best thing for you.
DC ain't even make JV team. I love it.
I 100% did, and I was asked to leave. And, there's a lot of people out there that know why and that can stay. It's not something we need to dig up.
It was fighting was involved, if I'm not mistaken, correct? You beat somebody. Basically, you bullied somebody.
I was a lover, not a fighter, and I have the daughter to prove it, So
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Big B Daily. This is your man, Big B. We are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. What is going on, people? I appreciate everybody joining us this morning. Was a crazy weekend as far as sports. Look, when the NBA playoffs starts, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. So a lot of stuff going on this weekend. It's basically for the next week. It's just going to be a crazy sports week. We got the NFL draft is coming up. Boxing this past weekend. Lord have mercy. Ryan Garcia with a big-time upset over Devin Haney. Although I think Haney was overrated, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So, and then we'll talk a little about the round one games. Nothing out of the ordinary. All the home teams won. There was one game in particular that I thought was, it ended up being a blowout, but we'll see what happens with that series. We'll talk about that. And then something is going on in Colorado, people, at the University of Colorado. Something is going on there. I don't know what it is. I think Deion's starting to feel the pressure a little bit. We all love Deion. But I think he's starting to feel the pressure because with all these people leaving in the portal, now he's talking about backups don't matter. Yeah, losing backups don't matter. Well, in what world does losing backups not matter? In football. Come on, people. What are we talking about? So, like I said, something is going on there. We'll get into that. We appreciate everybody being in here. Thank you, guys. Again, if you're on TikTok, continue to tap the screen. We're trying to get to at least 5,000 likes and 30 follows. Continue to tap the screen to send it out. Looks like TikTok is doing a little shadow banning on us. So I've kind of figured that out. I don't know exactly how to get out of it. It is what it is, but we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can. So we appreciate everybody's support, man. If you could send out the live, follow, all that good stuff, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Same thing on YouTube. Continue to subscribe, watch, all that good stuff. If you continue to like what we're doing and want to support the show, you know how to do it on YouTube. There's super chats that are out there that are available. Subscribe, like, tell your buddies about it. Same thing on TikTok. Any gifts, tips, all that good stuff. We appreciate it, man. Let's get into this. So the first thing is Ryan Garcia. Let's talk about it. Let's just get into it. Huge upset. Now, I had my man SB Kenny talking about that it was a legendary night. No, it's not a legendary night because neither one of them are legendary fighters. Okay? And I understand it might be a big deal. It was a huge upset, but let's not be prisoners of the moment here. Okay? Neither one of them are legendary fighters. So there was no matter who won, it wasn't going to be legendary. Did Ryan Garcia take the fight to Haney and bust him up? 1,000,000%. I thought he played it fantastic. Acted like he wasn't taking it serious. Selling the fight, outstanding. Acting crazy. And maybe he really is crazy. I don't know. But whatever he was doing, Haney, first of all, now I'm not even going to go that route yet. Ryan Garcia busted him up. Absolutely busted him up. So, look, Kenny, I know you're trying to say it's legendary. You're going to stand on that. You're just wrong in this case. Just period, end of story. I mean, Ryan Garcia is not a legendary fighter. He's never going to be a legendary fighter. Neither is Devin Haney. So there was nothing legendary about it. All he did was beat a guy that was overhyped. Devin Haney was the champion, but he had a suspect chin. He doesn't have any power. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, what I thought Ryan Garcia did was say, Devin Haney, you're overrated, and I am better than you. I am a better fighter than you. And that's right, he beat the hell out of him. He beat him up. I mean, hell, did y'all even see the end of the fight? Haney tried to run over to the corner, like you won, and jump on the in the corner, jump up on the rope. He couldn't even jump up on the ropes. He was so beat up, he fell into the corner. That's how bad Ryan Garcia beat this man up. And I don't care what Haney is trying to say. Oh, well, he caught me. He surprised me. Well, okay, that's kind of what boxing is, isn't it? I mean, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. You were the better fighter, or you were supposed to be the better fighter. But I'm sorry, you were not. I don't want to see no rematch. I mean, people are talking about, well, there needs to be a rematch because Garcia was 3.5 pounds overweight. And he was. And you saw in the ring, he was the much bigger fighter. But come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's just, Haney is just not, he just wasn't the guy that everybody thought that he was. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there that didn't think he was great, but that don't take away from what Garcia did to him. That was just a domination. He just beat the brakes off of that man. He literally beat the brakes off of that man. So, and no, Haney is no Tank. Absolutely not. He is no Tank whatsoever. So, and no, nobody's ready to see Tank fight Haney. Why would we want to see that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Haney needs to go regroup. He needs to beat 2 or 3 people before he even dreams of taking on Tank to go get his head beaten in again. Because that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Nobody wants to see that. Not now. Not now. But then you got Oscar De La Hoya and his cocaine-ravaged self out there talking about, oh, Ryan Garcia is the face of boxing. Really? Just shut up, man. Lord have mercy. No, he's not the face of boxing. I mean, first of all, he fought Shakur Davis. He fought him. Tank Davis just literally almost broke his insides. We watched that. So no, nobody wants to see that anytime soon. Talking about, whoa, we got to fight at a catch weight. No, the guy's a 140-pound fighter. He's the champ. He's the face of boxing. Actually, I don't even know if anyone really is the face of boxing right now. That's how bad boxing is right now. That's how bad a way boxing is right now. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't know. Tank can come close to being the face, I guess. But boxing is pretty in a bad way right now. But I've been the person that said this all along, and I'll continue to say it. In America, boxing's always going to take a step back. When there's no American heavyweight, boxing just isn't it in America. You're going to have your hardcore guys that are going to watch it no matter what. But when there's no American heavyweight that's competitive, America is not that interested. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Again, you'll have your hardcore guys watching it, but when there's no American heavyweight, and right now, There's no American heavyweight. People aren't that interested. Again, when a huge fight comes along, people will watch it. People will. But, kind of is what it is. It's sad, but it is what it is. It just is what it is. So, I don't know if Canelo's keeping boxing alive. Canelo keeps ducking people, and that's the way I look at it. I mean, until he stops doing that, I just don't have the interest. I don't have the interest. And I admit, I'm a casual boxing fan. I am 100% a casual boxing fan. So, and no, I'm not interested in Tyson and Logan. No, I'm not going to buy that fight. I'm not going to watch that fight. They've already said the rules are out there that Tyson can't knock him down. He can't do this. He can't do that. I'm like, it's just a show. Mike Tyson must need some money. Logan Paul's going to make a ton of money. It is what it is. No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But like I said, Ryan Garcia, you can't take anything away from that guy. You just can't. He played great or fought great, beat up Haney from pillar to post. And if we're being honest, because this is why I talk about Ryan Garcia. If he was a better fighter, that fight would have been over in the first round. It literally would have been over in the first round if he was a better fighter. Haney was out on his feet the very first round. Should have been over. If that's Pacquiao in there, and then that fight is over in the first round. He gets him up out of there. And you're right, he did knock him down 6 times, and they only counted 3. That referee was doing everything possible to give Haney a chance. Mike DeRuler, yes, this is why nobody watches boxing. He's over here on YouTube. By the way, if you are on TikTok, please click, if you're following, click in my bio and come on over to YouTube. Come subscribe to YouTube. The live is much better than TikTok. It's a better place, better atmosphere, all that good stuff. Get way more stuff over here. But Mike DeRuler is over here telling you the crazy judge had it 112 to 112. That's why nobody watches boxing. 112 to 112? What? I mean, what match were you watching? What fight were you watching? Unbelievable. But again, that's why nobody watches boxing. That's why. It's just nobody wants. I mean, there's nobody in the world that watched that boxing match and said, you know what? This is a draw. I'm watching this. This is a draw. And it doesn't matter about the point deductions, my man. It don't matter. There was nobody that could have seen that fight and said, it's a draw. It's a draw. It was horrible. It was horrible. Now, here's another good point Darren Howard brings up. Different weight classes, gaining 20-plus pounds after the weigh-in, after missing weight by 3, should have been a sign for Haney. Yeah. First of all, you could just look. You could look at both men in the ring. Garcia was way bigger than him. That's number one. And Haney should have had a clause in there. Hey, man, you can't gain more than 10 pounds. And if Garcia can't fight at 140, then he just can't fight at 140. Period. End of story. I mean, how many times have we seen it? 160 pounds, 140 pounds. All of a sudden, they come into the ring 165. You come in at 160. The weight's 160. They come into the ring 185. What the hell? So it was ugly. It was an ugly night for Haney. I don't know how he recovers. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes you just don't recover. Sometimes you get beat up so bad you don't recover. This might be one of those times because he got beat up. That was disgusting. Man, that was ugly. Whew. But we'll see. We We'll see. Ugly fight. Garcia, big night for him. Devin, it couldn't have been a better night for Ryan Garcia, and it couldn't have been a worse night for Devin Haney. Couldn't have been a worse. Could not have been worse. It was ugly, pillar to post. The fight was over after the first round. I know he rocked Garcia in the third round. It didn't matter. That fight was over. And if Garcia would have been a better fighter, a better boxer, it should have been over in the first round. Would have had Haney knock that done in the first round. And especially in the seventh round. Should have been over with. But that's just me. That's just me. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. Again, as always, remember, TikTok, keep tapping the screen. Need to get at least 5,000 likes and 30 people or 30 new follows. I know that TikTok is shadow banning us. We don't have very many people in here today. Heck, they've even locked up my screen. I'm just kind of done with it. I'm over it. We'll move on. Apologize, YouTube. We'll just move on from here. So, NBA playoffs. Round one games, they kind of go as planned. There were no upsets, which I'm good with. There were no upsets. But I think the Mavs series, I think that's going to turn around. Here's the reason why I say that. The game ended up getting out of hand, but it was 29 points at the half. I mean, do we expect James Harden and everybody from the Clippers to continue to shoot like that this whole series? I don't think so. Do we expect the Mavs to shoot that poorly? I don't think so. You know, those empty stats that Luka had and Kyrie had at the end of the game, that didn't mean anything. I mean, they cut the game down to 13 at one point. I said, but it really didn't get close. I go, but the Clippers were on fire. They're not going to shoot 50% from three the rest of this series. That's not going to happen. And if they do, then this will be a sweep. I can assure you of that. And no, Kawhi didn't play. And you can say, well, Kawhi didn't play. Well, okay, that's fine. Kawhi did, but are we expecting Kawhi to shoot that well too? No. Somehow, some way, it's only game one. Nobody expected the Mavs to sweep. I think the Mavs are going to end up winning the series, but nobody thought they were going to sweep the Clippers. So they lost the first game on the road. It happens all the time. This is no different. They'll make a few adjustments, although what adjustments really need to be made? If a team's making 50% of their threes, I don't care what you do. I mean, it's not like they were just wide open. They were just making shots. It's not a lot you can do about that. I mean, Westbrook was out there making threes, for crying out loud. So we'll see what happens. Anthony Edwards did his thing. Yes, he did. They look good. But how good is Kevin Durant? 31 points on 11 of 17. That guy, Lord have mercy. And then Anthony Edwards was talking trash to him. But did y'all happen to notice the press conference afterwards? Anthony Edwards did everything in his power basically to apologize without saying he apologized. He gave Kevin Durant all the praise and the credit in the world because I think he got a little carried away with himself. And then Durant is like, really? I mean, because you don't need Durant to turn into a monster on you because we know he can do it. So I think he needs to stem the tide a little bit. But the Timberwolves did look good. I'll give them credit. The Timberwolves did look good. But I think Phoenix may have something for him in game two. The one series that I think is over, I think it was over at the beginning, is Boston, Miami. I know a lot of people are trying to make out like, oh, it was a dirty play on Jason Tatum. And I'm like, no, it wasn't a dirty play. Does anybody, first off, watch more basketball if you think it was a dirty play. That would be my first thought. Second thought, Martin got pushed by Drew Holiday And he wasn't even looking at Tatum. He's looking at the ball to go rebound it. It just happened that he got bumped. It was an unfortunate play, but it wasn't dirty by any means. We've seen dirty basketball plays. That one doesn't even come close. It just looked bad. It looked bad, but it's physical basketball. That's what happens. But that wasn't a dirty play at all. Not even remotely a dirty basketball play. So there's that. There's that aspect of it, at least in my opinion. In my opinion. But I think that series over. Boston, they're just better. They were better. It wouldn't matter if Jimmy Butler was playing or not. They're just better. And they're outclassed without Jimmy Butler. They're outclassed. Now, the next one, and Cam brings up a great point, the Lakers are going to get knocked out of the playoffs by Denver once again. Yeah, I think everybody thought that, but I'm going to say this. You can be a LeBron fan, you can be a LeBron hater, but LeBron can't disappear in the fourth quarter like he did. That just can't happen. That can't happen. You know, I'm a LeBron fan, and I like good basketball, but don't talk to me about, he disappeared in the fourth quarter. Snitch Russell should never have 20 shots in a basketball game if he's not making shots early. You allowed him to go 1 for 9 from 3, 6 for 20 for the game. I'm sorry. That's too many shots for Snitch Russell if he's missing shots. That's just too many. I need more out of LeBron. I need more out of Anthony Davis, out of Reeves. I need more. Look, Joker is a bad defensive player. He is. He understands. He's got limitations. He's not a shot blocker. He can't move his feet very well. He's a big body, but he is not a good defender. Anthony Davis should be killing him. Should be killing him on that end. And he doesn't. He doesn't. So, I don't know. It's just a mentality, man. It's sad to see, but it's a mentality. He should be going at him and killing him. But he didn't. So, it was ugly. The Lakers, they're going to have to figure something out. They literally can't beat the Nuggets. They can't beat them. They got swept in the playoffs last year. They got swept in the regular season playing them this year. They beat them again in the playoffs. They can't beat them. I'm like, man. And it's not like people had just ungodly games against them. It's like I don't know. Reeves has to play better. Everybody has to play better. It's not a fair thing to say that everybody has to play their best game, but it's starting to look like it, isn't it? For the Lakers just to win a game, everybody has to play their A game. And even then, it may not be enough. It may not be enough. We'll see. But yeah, the Lakers got to find something. I think they got to win game 2. If they don't win game 2, this will be a sweep again. And I know what you're saying. Come on, B. They're going home to L.A. Just because you win 2 games at home doesn't mean nothing. I think if they don't win game 2, especially if it's a blowout, they won't even be able to be competitive in L.A. They'll quit. I thought they quit the other night. I did. I thought they quit the other night, and the game was close. I'm tired. Look, I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm one of the honest ones. I'm tired of seeing him disappear in fourth quarters, man. I'm tired of it. And that's what happened. That's what happened. You don't want the smoke, then stop disappearing in the fourth quarter. You got to stop. You got to stop. Mike DeRuler said Denver in 3.5. You may be right, man. I'm just saying Anthony Davis needs to go do his thing. I'm not even saying he played bad because I don't think he played bad, but we need more. At some point, when does Anthony Davis going to average 35 points in a playoff series against somebody big time? When are we going to see it? Why is it now that time? Go out there and get you 35 and 18 with 4 blocks. I'm not saying you're going to stop Jokic. I'm not saying you're going to do that. But then in turn, he shouldn't be able to stop you. There should be no games where you get 25 points. No. 35, 40. You're capable. Go do it. Stop with the nonsense. Just go do it. That's why people get so frustrated with him in particular. Go do it, man. Or he's not really a top 75 player. First of all, I don't think he's a top 75 player anyway. I don't know how he got that distinction. To me, that's absolute garbage. But if you are that, it's time to show it. It's time to show it. No more BS from Anthony Davis. Either you go out there and you go dominate, or you're just not the guy that people think that you are. Period. End of story. Tired of seeing it. So that's just my thoughts on it, man. That's just my thoughts on it. Other first round games. Are there any one? I mean, the one last night, Oklahoma City and the Pelicans was way more competitive than what I thought it would be. First off, I think Oklahoma City, a lot of nerves. I told you all, experience matters. Nobody had any playoff experience. None of the key pieces. I think that got into their head a little bit. That mattered. They shot bad. Yeah, you're right, Pat Cockrell. They shot bad. It was nerves. It was nerves. I expect them to play better because I don't expect this to be a series without Zion. I think this will be the closest game that there is. But you're right. Thunder need to shoot better if they want. Nah, not if they want to win the series. They escaped, but it was a lot of nerves. I don't think they'll have those nerves in game 2. I expect game 2 to be a blowout. Game 3 will be the key back in New Orleans. But if Oklahoma City can somehow find a way to win that, it'll be a sweep. A game 2 will be a blowout. Game 2 would be a blowout. So, Pelicans with Zion would beat the Thunder in 5. Not a chance. They may have a chance to beat them, but it wouldn't be in 5. I thought if the Warriors or the Lakers played the Thunder, I thought they would beat them, but I don't think the Pelicans stand a chance. So, and then the Knicks, look, the Knicks and the 76ers, I thought if Embiid was healthy that whole game, they'd have won game 1. I said it from the beginning, if Embiid is healthy, they're going to win the series. And it looked that way. He was killing them. 76ers were killing them. Embiid gets hurt. That's it. And that was when the Knicks even shit like Brunson shot horrible. What was he, 8 for 26 or something like that? Didn't have a good game. I expect him to bounce back in a big way. But Embiid is out there at 40%, man. I said it was 75%, and maybe he was 70 after his knee injury. He can't do anything. He's at 40%. The Knicks are going to win the series now. The Knicks are going to win. Like I said, if Embiid was healthy, I was picking them to win it. But he's not healthy, man. He's not healthy. So, and Knicks didn't play well in game 1. But they were able to win because Embiid wasn't healthy. He can't move. So, he just can't do anything. Whew. Yes, that's exactly right, Sideshow. Name of the game, healthy teams win late in the season. Absolutely. 100%. But it's the same thing with Embiid every year. He's just always hurt. So, and I feel bad for him. Because I think any other year, I think Embiid would have sat out the rest of the season. I think he came back because I think he felt like he owed it to his team. He owed it to the city. He owed it to himself. Hey, man, I got to try to get back out here. He's out there at 40%. Who ever heard of a 7-footer that anytime you go to dunk, your knees are giving out on you? Come on, man. He can't even go to dunk the basketball without his knees giving out on him. That's sad. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him. But if he's out there at 40%, here's the thing. He was out there at 40%. And before he got hurt, if he would have just stayed at the same level, they would have beat the Knicks. That's the effect that Embiid has on this game. They would have beaten the Knicks. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they can do some kind of rehab. Embiid, hey, man, you can't dunk the basketball. Okay? Sorry. No dunking for you. You got to do what you do without dunking the ball. If he can do that, maybe they got a shot. I mean, it was crazy, the plus minus. I'm not huge into plus minus, but plus 14 when Embiid's on the court, minus 21 when he's off the court. I mean, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. So, why do you think they stay hurt so much? Man, I don't know. And everybody acts like, hey, well, your body's not built for that. You know, guys are that big. I'm like, guys used to be that big. Weren't hurt all the time. I mean, we act like now is the only time that 7-footers have ever played basketball. That's not the case. Now, guys were skinnier, but, you know, like, I mean, Shaq ended up getting hurt, but I think a lot of Shaq's where he was out of shape. And then he would come back, but Shaq was never really hurt in the playoffs. I mean, I think a lot of Shaq's was, okay, maybe he had a hamstring or something like this. I mean, I know he broke a foot, but I think a lot of Shaq's injuries was he was just out of shape, and they would sit him out to try to get in shape. So, we'll see. Yeah. Embiid's got to play regardless. Just play no higher than 3 off the court. Yeah, I agree. No higher than 3 inches. I think he's got to play. And if he does, and he can, like I said, if he can give them 50%, nobody on the Knicks can still guard him. So, but you know what? And nobody's going to want to hear this. Embiid's got to go inside. Embiid is bigger than those cats for the Knicks. Just go inside and punish them. I know everybody, you can't play post-up basketball anymore. Bullshit. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Nobody just does it. You absolutely can. Well, we need to open things up for our guards. Hey, man, I got a guy inside that can dominate. How about you just throw him the basketball and let him do it? What's the difference between a guard shooting layups and your big man shooting layups? I mean, hell, your big man's closer. He's taller. Let him go to work down there. Let him go to work. It's crazy that they don't use big man to play big man basketball anymore. It's just, to me, it's stupid. It's just stupid. But whatever. Whatever. It is the way that it is. Big men are just not valued. You can be a big man and score. They don't even care. They don't even care anymore. Whew. Big B, what do you think about Gilbert Arenas' thoughts on Jokic? I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Gilbert is more into his podcast and saying crazy stuff than he's actually being honest, which that's fine. That's fine. You know, I think Jokic is one of the best players that plays in basketball today. He could play in any era. He's a basketball player. He's not an athlete. You don't have to be an athlete to be a great basketball player. You just don't. Period. End of story. But let's move on. Let's move on. I don't know what's going on in Colorado, but Deion Sanders and Coach Prime, they got a problem up there. They got a problem. And that problem is a cultural problem, and I think Deion's starting to feel the pressure. Here's why. When have you ever heard a coach say that losing backups don't matter? Now, look, we can say that Deion's taking a different approach, that Deion's doing things differently. You know, that his philosophy or the way that he's trying to build a team and all of this is different than the norm. That's fine, but some things have to be the same. And having quality depth on a football team is always important. Always important. And what he said, who are we losing in the portal? Who's going into the portal? Backups. Okay, then. We'll be fine. No, man. No. No, no, no. Because basically what he is saying is that backups don't matter. Which I'm a Deion supporter. I want him to do well. But that's one of the dumbest things that I think I've ever heard any head coach say in my entire life. Backups don't matter. Really? In what world? In what world? Just say this. Hey, the portal is out there. Some guys are getting it. Some guys aren't. Maybe we weren't the right fit for certain individuals. They decided to leave. God bless them. We wish them well, but we're going to bring in some other guys to fill those spots. What's wrong with just saying that versus saying, well, backups left? It's terrible. It's just it's foolishness, and he's starting to feel the pressure. And he's not going to say that, and there's not going to be a whole lot of people out there that say that, but I'll say it because I'm a defender. I want Prime to do well. It's a terrible look. It's a terrible look saying that backups don't matter. Really? So when the first guy gets hurt, then what? Who you bringing in? What are you doing? Stop it, man. Stop it, Deion. My man, we can't. I like Deion, but since last year, it's like a reality show instead of college football. It's starting to become that. I don't mind Deion and them recording everything. I don't mind that. I don't mind the social media presence. I don't mind any of that. I think it's great. You want to be out there like that, then be out there like that. I don't find there anything wrong with that. But on the flip side of that, you got to start doing coaching and building a program. You cannot build a program by going out and saying backups don't matter. And he said that. Darren Howard, it's just not a good look for Prime Minister. We want guys. But when you get them and they leave, we didn't need them. I'm not sending my son there for that. Yes. Thank you. I am not going to send my son there for you to not develop them if they don't come in and immediately can't help you. So you're telling me that my 18 or 19-year-old son, I'm sending him to you. And if from day one, if they can't help you, all of a sudden they're no good to you, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And sooner or later, there's going to be other people and other parents out there that start to say the same thing. I mean, if we're being honest, how many day one people actually help a program? I mean, day one. There's not that many kids out there that are helping you day one. Hell, how many kids, take it back 10 years. If you came in as a freshman class and there were 20 of you, 18 of you got redshirted. Your body wasn't right. Your mental state wasn't right. You got redshirted. Now you can't necessarily do that, although people still get redshirted. Because now, well, I'll just leave. I'll get in the portal and I'll leave. I can go play somewhere. Which that's part of the problem anyway. People thinking that if you don't play from day one, well, I need to go somewhere where I can play. Well, maybe you weren't ready to play. But Deion's problem is, if you're not ready to play, he doesn't even want to coach you. But he doesn't even need you. And he's saying that out loud. That's the problem. We can want Prime to succeed all we want. We can want Prime to be successful all we want. But some things in coaching have to be coaching. You know, the statement and what people say now, the popular thing to say is the main thing's got to be the main thing. I get it. The coaching's got to be the coaching, man. Everything can't be for flash. Everything can't be. Look, Cormani McClain left, and he took a jab at him. People are saying, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. I want to go to a big-time program that's not out there looking for clicks that can develop me. It sounded like nobody tried to develop him. Now, part of McClain's problem, he's got to be accountable himself because Deion's saying he didn't show up to meetings. He didn't try to understand. He wasn't working hard. I don't even want to get into the classroom stuff because we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is when Deion came out and said the stuff that he said about him during the season, his mother backed Deion up. His high school coach came out and said he's an outstanding talent, but he always wants to do things his way. You can't do that. Not at the next level. You can't just do things your way, especially if you don't understand the defense. You don't understand what's going on. You're showing up late to meetings. You haven't heard Deion say that about anybody else. He said that about him because it was the truth. I don't necessarily agree with that because what I would have done to Cormani McClain, I would have run his ass into the ground until he understood. And maybe they tried that, but I wouldn't have went the route of the media. You don't need to do that. I would have just run his ass into the ground. And if he left, then he left. That means you're right. You didn't need him because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. You're trying to discipline him into doing the right things, and his response to that is to leave, then you're right. You didn't need him. But when somebody rebels, the answer at coaching isn't to humiliate them publicly. It's to humiliate them privately, and that's when you dig in even harder. That's the difference. Deion hasn't figured that out yet. You can't humiliate kids publicly like that. Kids aren't built like that anymore. Or I don't know if they ever were. But they're definitely not built like that now. If you want him to respond to you, grind him. That's how you get him to respond. Grind him. And if he doesn't respond, then he doesn't respond. But and obviously there's certain circumstances. But if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, yes, the grind has to be there. Now, if he's just not capable of it, that's something different. That's totally different. Totally different. But if he's just not responding and he's not doing what you want him to do, you grind on him. And then if he leaves, then you're right. We don't need him. I don't know that you have to say that publicly. But, hey, it just didn't work out, what we were doing, which Deion actually did say. This just wasn't the place to be able to get the best out of him. Perfect. Move on. But stop all the, hey, people are allowed to ask you questions, Deion. They're allowed to ask those. Why do people keep jumping into the transfer portal? Your response can't be, well, who is it? Who are we losing? No. The pressure's getting to Deion. I don't care what nobody says. And if somebody said that to him, he's going to lie to us. I'm not under any pressure. You're lying. Every head coach is under pressure to win. This is a huge year for Deion. They go out there and win 4 games this year, it will be a huge failure. A huge failure. I'm not saying that they will fire him because the amount of money that he's bringing in and the amount of eyeballs that he's bringing to the program as an athletic director, if you fired that, they should fire you. Part of the program is about winning. The other part is about fundraising and money. Deion's doing that. That part he's doing. He is bringing not only the university, the athletic department, the whole city of Boulder is thriving because of what he's doing there. But at some point, the style's got to be met with some substance. And that substance has to be winning. It has to be winning. So no more winning 4 games. I think they got to win at least 7 games this year. Are they going to do it? I don't know. But what I do know is it's time to start winning. And the pressure is starting to get to Deion. He's going to lie if somebody ever asked him that and say that it's not, but it is. The pressure is starting to get to him. They've got to start winning. And maybe they will. And don't come to us after you win one football game and say, do you believe? Do you believe now? We don't want to hear that. Win 8 games, and then you can ask us that. Go win 8 games. Then you can ask, do you believe? But don't tell me after you beat North Dakota State or after you beat Nebraska or Colorado State. Don't come to us and say, do you believe? We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. Okay? Because the answer is no, we don't. I can tell you that right now. No, we don't believe yet. Do something a little bit with more substance so we can believe. That's all I know. And stop saying that backups don't matter. Stop saying that. That's a good point, David Gonzalez. If all their backups were gone, they better win their first 7 games. Injuries will kill them. Yeah. I mean, football is a game of injuries. It's a game of attrition. It always has been. It always will be. Always. Guys are going to get hurt. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more. Football is unfortunately a game where bones break and ligaments tear. That's just the way that it is. And if you don't have enough guys to be enough quality guys, then your team won't be as good. We see it every year. We see it in professional football. We see it in college football. Backups matter. They absolutely matter. Terrible look from Deion. Terrible. Pressure's starting to get to him. The pressure is starting to get to him, people. We don't want to say that. We don't want to have to admit that about Coach Prime. But unfortunately, it's the truth. It is the flat-out truth. The pressure is starting to mount, and he's starting to say things that people are like, huh? Even people like me, a big-time supporter, are like, huh? You said what? And then the fuel for the people that don't like him, you know, the Jason Whitlocks of the world, the Coach JBs of the world. I mean, this is just giving them fuel. I mean, and you're proving them right. You're proving them right. So if you don't want to do that, take a word of advice from your man, Big B. Take a step back and just coach your football team. That's all you got to do, man. That's all you got to do. Just take a step back and coach your football team. Nobody's going to care if you go out there and win games. Nobody's going to care. All they care about is to see the program getting better. But don't go out there and win 4 games and then come up with a bunch of excuses. We don't want to hear that. You know, don't throw your offensive line under the bus like you did midway through the season last year when we could all see that they sucked. We knew they were terrible. You didn't have to come out and say that, though. That's not what head coaching is. And don't tell me that's holding them accountable. You can hold your team accountable in practice. You can hold your team accountable during the game. You don't have to try to hold them accountable and publicly humiliate them. That's not holding them accountable. By telling them they're not any good and we're going to go get other guys in the portal. We already know that. We can see that. You don't have to come out and say that. That is not good coaching. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. That's somebody that's not experienced as a coach that's just spouting off at the mouth. Be better, Deion. Be better. And I think you're capable of being better. You're capable of being better. We're going to have to see it this year. We are going to have to see it this year. 7 games is the minimum. 7 wins. That is the minimum. Anything left, don't tell me, well, they got to 6 wins and there's no. 7 wins. Then we can say, you know what? It's moving in the right direction. It's moving in the right direction. Anything less than that, in my opinion, is failure. Anything less than that. So, Q&A section, man. What do we got going on here? So, which team is most likely to steal a road playoff win in game 2? Says Steelers Almighty. The Mavs. I think the Mavs can steal game 2. I think Embiid, if he's healthy, or if he gets you to 50%, I think Philly can get you game 2. Let's see. Miami can't get you game 2. That's not going to happen. I don't think the Pelicans are going to be able to get you game 2. I don't think that's going to happen. The Suns? Do we think the Suns? Yeah. Give me the Suns in game 2. Give me the Suns in game 2. I think they can go and win a game in Minnesota. I do. I think Booker, and they need Beal to do something too. But yeah, give me them. Give me them. So we'll see. The Lakers, no. Lakers are not going to do it. I've lost all faith that I have in the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are stealing a game at all. But I do think the Mavs, I think if Embiid can give you 50 to 60%, I think the 76ers can get you a game. I think the Suns can get you a game. I don't think the Pelicans will get you a game. As a matter of fact, I think the Pelicans are going to get blown out. Yeah, I think they're going to get blown out. The Lakers, nope. The Heat, nope. Nope. The Pacers, I'd like to say because I thought the Pacers were going to win the series. Now, that'll be a tricky one. Pacers, first year in the playoffs, little nerves. Yeah, I think the Pacers can get you game 2. I'll add them to the list. I think the Pacers can get you game 2. Because Giannis, I think Giannis is going to be out the whole series. Giannis ain't going to play in the first round series. I think he's out. So give me the Pacers in game 2 as well. Yeah, I like that. That'll be interesting. But I think the Lakers are cooked. I think Miami is cooked. I think the Pelicans for sure are cooked. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm ready, though. Playoffs are good. We didn't see a whole lot of surprises. I think game 2 is going to be really good. The only game that I think is going to be a blowout is going to be Oklahoma City. I think they're going to blow out the Pelicans. And I think Boston will whip on Miami. They're not going to make 26 threes again, or what was it, 22 threes? I don't think they're going to do that again, but I think they're going to end up whipping Miami. But I think all the other ones will be close, even the Lakers. The Lakers and the Nuggets will be close. I just don't think when it comes down to winning time, the Lakers just won't make the plays and the Nuggets will. That's weird, but that's just the way it's gone. I don't see anything changing in that series. I haven't seen anything that's going to change. They just have better players at winning time. So, Steelers Almighty asking a question. A little biased question for you. How many teams would George Pickens be the number 1 receiver on? I mean, I was a guy that said last year that Deontay Johnson, until about halfway through the season, Deontay Johnson was the number 1 receiver. But I would say half. Yeah, that sounds about right. About half. Because, I mean, think about it. If he went to Buffalo, wouldn't Pickens be the number 1 receiver in Buffalo right now? Yep. If he went to Kansas City, Do you think he's the number one receiver over Marquise? And I'm not talking about Kelsey. We're just talking about receivers. Pickens is a better receiver than Marquise Brown and Rashee Rice. So, yeah, he would in New England. Not the Jets, not the Dolphins. I think he's better than Zay Flowers in Baltimore. I don't think he's better than Cooper. Yeah, probably half the league. Half the league. He'd be the number one receiver on everybody in the NFC East except for the Cowboys. The Commanders. The Giants. No, not Philly. Yeah, he'd be the number 3 receiver in Philly. So, it's a good question. Mike DeRuler said the Lakers can win game 2, but it would take a virtuoso from LeBron. I think that's where you're wrong, Mike DeRuler. I don't think it's going to take a virtuoso from LeBron. I think it's going to take a virtuoso from Anthony Davis. That's who I think the virtuoso has to come from. Now, I know what you're going to say. He ain't capable of doing it. I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm not. But I think the virtuoso has to come from Anthony Davis. That's where the virtuoso has to come from. I don't think it has to come from LeBron. Now, it would help. Don't get me wrong. It will help. But I think it's going to take a virtuoso from Anthony Davis for them to win game 2. I just think that it will. It's a bad matchup for him. Nikola Jokic is a better player than him. But on the offensive end, he can take advantage of him. I think they need to go a lot of ISO stuff with him and just let him go to work. And then he has to go to work. Take the bumps. Take the bruises. Do what you need to do. But who knows if he's going to do that? We'll see. What do y'all think about the NFL? NFL draft starts on Thursday. It starts on Thursday. Caleb Williams had an interview, came out and said he is head and shoulder. He is just better than everybody else in the draft. I don't disagree. I think he is. I think he has been. I don't think anything has changed. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I think the Bears would be crazy not to take him. I don't even think there's a question at this point. I think it would be funny if the Bears took somebody else, but that would just be the Bears being the Bears doing Bear things. But I think it would be funny. But Caleb Williams just came out and said, hey, man, I am better at in-pocket stuff than everybody else. I'm better than they are. And if you look at the tape, he is. I don't know what we're doing with this J.J. McCarthy stuff. Do you guys know? Why is he now all of a sudden going to be a top 4, top 5 pick? And here's the thing. I'm not even sure if J.J. McCarthy can play or if he can't play. People want to hold it against him that, well, they didn't lean on him. They didn't count on him. He didn't do enough in college. Well, it's because they didn't have to. They didn't have to lean on him. Well, the thing to do, the easiest thing to do in football is to run the football. And if you can run the football and just beat everybody, that's kind of what you do. Why put the ball in harm's way if you don't have to? It doesn't matter if you got Joe Montana on your team. If you're running for 8-10 yards a carry, you're just going to continue to run the football. It's just that simple. So every single year, somebody gets floated up, and he's that guy this year. We've seen it time and time again. And every time that person gets floated up that high, every single time they fail. It's like clockwork. All of a sudden, we start raising the caliber of somebody, and they get drafted in the top 8, top 5, and they stink. Every single time. Every single time. We've seen it. And I'm afraid this might happen again. Again, I know I just went on and said we don't know if J.J. McCarthy can play, and we don't. But I'm just under the impression, why didn't you have him ranked that high all year? The tape hasn't changed. I mean, nothing has changed. So it's act like he's went out there and played a whole bunch of different football games. Oh, yeah, I see a lot different. No. The tape is still the tape. It's been the same. So why are you looking at it differently? We do it every year. Somebody out of nowhere, and they stink. I got a feeling this is going to be the same thing, man. I got to feel this is going to be the same thing. So, Darren Howard saying the same thing. Somebody gets floated up the board last minute every year. I need to know who's doing this. Lock them up. Yeah, man. Why? I mean, for instance, the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans this year is going to be Will Levis. He was drafted, what was it, the first pick of the second round last year. What's wrong with that? Why do you have to draft a quarterback in the top 5? Well, we need to make sure we get one. Well, what if he's not a top 5 pick? I mean, I just used my Steelers as an example. At number 20, they could have taken Tyler Linderbaum, a Pro Bowl center that happened to go to our rival, the Ravens. Instead, we need a quarterback, so we're going to take one. We take Baby Hands Pickett. And he's no longer on our football team. It's that kind of stuff. It's those kinds of misses that you can't afford to do. You can't afford to do it. That's all I'm saying. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. So we're going to shut this one down today, man. We appreciate everybody being here. Again, Monday through Friday, Big B Daily. Thank you guys for showing up, for showing out. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha.